Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. When we stop and think about what devil fruits the Straw Hats could have, if Oda were bolder, or if the world of One Piece allowed for more freedom, the first thing that comes to mind is what Oda himself has already mentioned in the SBS. He made it clear which fruits he would give to each member who doesn't have one. So let's start from there. It's not an empty theory, it's based on what the author actually imagined, even if just for fun. And let's be honest, if he said this, there's at least a chance it could serve as inspiration in the future. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Starting with Zoro, things get wild in the way we love. Oda said he'd give him the Uo no Mi model Seiryu, the same one Kaido has for one of Zoro's swords. Yes, the sword eating a devil fruit. We already saw something similar with Spandam's sword back in Eni's lobby, which ate a Zoan fruit and turned into a dog sword. So it's canonical, it's allowed. The difference here is that it would be a legendary dragon fruit, meaning on top of cutting everything, it would breathe fire, fly, and even scare Mihawk. The question is, would Zoro control this sword, or would it control him? Maybe Zoro would train to dominate the fruit's consciousness inside the sword, like taming a wild beast. That would fit him perfectly, as it's reminiscent of the cursed swords he already uses, which he's never feared. Shusui was heavy and cursed, but Zoro wielded it like it was nothing. So maybe he would control a dragon-powered sword the same way, by sheer force of will. Nami's choice is the most obvious, yet also the most overlooked when we think about potential. Oda gave her the Goro no Mi, the Thunder fruit from Enel. It's a Logia with absolute lightning control, one of the most broken fruits in the entire series. Nami already controls the weather, summons storm clouds, and can change the climate of an island with her Climatact. If she had the power to generate lightning with her own body, she would become a thunder goddess on the level of Big Mom using Zeus. And remember, she already used Zeus, so she'd control everything, from clouds to electricity, from wind to atmospheric pressure. She might not even need the Climatact anymore, but I think she'd still keep it out of attachment and strategy, using it as a catalyst to amplify the fruit's powers. And unlike Enel, who used his powers with brute force, Nami would use them with intelligence, which is even more dangerous. Nami is clever, and that would put her on a level where few enemies could predict her moves. Not to mention, with this power, she wouldn't depend on others to fight, she'd be a complete fighter. Now, Usopp, that's where we really see Oda's creativity shine. He gave him the Poke no Mi, the Pocket fruit, which gives the ability to store endless things in the body. At first, it sounds silly, but it's perfect for Usopp's style. He always depends on tools, plants, special ammo, and carries a ton of things around. Having a fruit that lets him store all of that in his body in an organized way would be the ultimate practicality. He'd become a walking shooter with infinite possibilities. Maybe he'd pull out a rare plant from his arm, or a bomb disguised as a flower from his chest. On top of that, he could use it to create traps, store living ammunition, or even do tricks with pop green plants he grew inside his own body. And let's not forget the comedy aspect. Imagine him pulling out a frying pan or an inflatable bed in the middle of a fight. That's so him. This would make him one of the most versatile members of the crew. Then there's Sanji. Oda said he'd give him the Sui no Mi, the swim fruit from Senior Pink. This fruit lets you swim through the ground as if it were water, and for a guy who fights with agility, legs, and aerial kicks, this would be an insane upgrade. He could pass through walls, dodge attacks, appear underneath enemies, and land a Diablo Jambe-style kick without being seen. He already flies with Skywalk, but this would be on another level. Maybe he'd even combine the two, swimming through the ground and flying between buildings in an unpredictable fighting style. And think about it, Sanji is already the hardest person to hit. With this fruit, he'd be nearly untouchable. And since it doesn't affect his hands or interfere with his kicks, it fits his style perfectly. The only thing is, he probably wouldn't choose this fruit if given the option, because he still dreams of swimming with mermaids. But if it was for a greater cause, like protecting someone, he might accept it without hesitation. As for Frankie, Oda linked him to the Buki no Mi, the weapon fruit from Baby 5. This fruit turns the body into weapons. Frankie is already a cyborg with cannons for arms, soda in his chest, flamethrowers, and more. If he had this fruit, he'd turn into a walking weapon completely. Imagine him turning turning his arm into a machine gun, his leg into a rocket launcher, or even his chest into a missile launcher. He might even build mechanisms to transform further, like Tetris pieces fitting together. And since he built his own body, he'd likely adapt all of this with the fruit, creating a hybrid of technology and power. It would be like a dream come true for him. And let's not forget that Frankie turned down a fruit earlier because he didn't want to lose the ability to swim, but who knows? Maybe in the end, he'd accept it for the sake of evolution. Up until now, we've seen Oda's choices, but the fun part is thinking about how things could expand. Let's start with Zoro, because we can't avoid this. Zoro's already a beast. He doesn't need any devil fruit, but what if by accident or through some crazy fate, he ate the Tog no Mai, an original fruit that would make his body generate indestructible spikes, like a hedgehog's, that he could control with precision. Imagine that combined with his Santoryu style. The spikes would act as extensions of the blade, coming out of his body, arms, and legs, and could be manipulated into cutting waves. And if he trained, he could even coat the spikes with haki. He'd turn into a mix of a swordsman and an armored porcupine, dealing both long-range and close-range attacks simultaneously. He could still maintain the honor of the sword, not relying entirely on the fruit, but using it when necessary, like an ace in the hole. As for Nami, she could get a fruit that further expands her control over the weather. The Kumo no Mi, a paramecia that lets her create, manipulate, and solidify clouds. Unlike Zeus, who's a living being, this fruit would be fully under Nami's control. She could create cloud stairs, platforms, icy cloud whips, and even shape small storms into miniatures. And since she's practically a meteorologist ninja, she'd combine this with her sensors and climatact. She might even create a cloud that looks like a clone of herself, a decoy to confuse the enemy. And what if she could fly on a personalized cloud, like Goku's flying Nimbus? That would be so perfect for her. Complete freedom in the sky. For Usopp, I thought of something more psychological, a fruit that matches his style of lying so much that even he believes it. The Uso no Mi, a fruit of lies. Maybe it works like this. Everything he says, believing it to be true, turns into reality for a few seconds. So if he screams, "This plant is going to explode," and points to a regular flower, the flower explodes. Or if he says, "My weapon shoots fire," and fires it, the bullet catches fire. But there's a limit. He really has to believe it. And the fruit tests this. So the fruit demands courage, self-confidence, basically everything he's always struggled to have. It would be like a continuous test of his growth, and it would still keep the character's humor intact. Usopp could create absurd situations with this fruit, like saying he's invisible and the enemy stops seeing him. It would be genius. As for Sanji, to maintain his knightly style, he deserved a more elegant yet destructive fruit, the Hai no Mi, a fire fruit different from the Mira no Mi, maybe one that only controls flames on his legs, made of a material like blue lava, super hot but only controlled in his lower limbs. He already has the Diable Jambe, which simulates this, but this fruit would take it to a level where his kick could create craters, melt the ground, boost his jump, or even turn into a jet propulsion. And since he's a gentleman, the fruit only affects what he uses to fight, his legs. No excessive attention grabbing. With this, he'd fly better, kick harder, maybe even create heat waves that distort the air and confuse the enemy's aim. For Frankie, the wildest idea I thought of was the Kikai no Mi, the fruit of living engineering. He could transform parts of his body into tools, circuits, mechanical arms, and build inventions instantly. Like he touches a wall and suddenly a ladder pops out, or he stretches his arm and it turns into a retractable claw. His body adapts like a 3D printer with AI. He'd build things in real time, towers, weapons, vehicles. This would match his creative mind. And what if he could absorb materials from the environment and improve his body, like touching metal to strengthen his arm? This fruit would make him more Frankie than ever. Robin already has a powerful fruit, but what if she ate a second one? Because her body is used to replicating parts, and this new fruit accepted that. Maybe the Shiro no Mi, a paramecia fruit that allows the creation of solid shadows. She could make physical shadows, like dark clones that fight for her. Unlike Moria's power, which steals shadows from others, this fruit creates its own shadows. Robin could make shadow versions of herself that attack with flower arms, creating total chaos on the battlefield. It would be the aggressive version of the Hana. And shadows don't feel pain. Brook, even though he already has the soul fruit, could benefit from a Logia that fits his icy style. Like the Yuki no Mi, a snow Logia, but with a musical twist. Every time he plays his violin, snowflakes spread out and cause slowness, sleep, or small hallucinations. A battlefield where the enemy feels homesick, nostalgic, or sad, all because of the music and the snow. It would be a psychological, artistic, and completely unique fighting style. And being a living soul, he could absorb or control the temperature of the environment. Imagine him fighting in the snow he created, like a spirit dancing on stage. Jinbei is already a monster in water, so his fruit would need to be compatible with the ocean without overshadowing his style. Maybe the animenomi, which isn't a logia, but a paramecia that controls water pressure inside the body. He could absorb moisture from the air, soil, or his skin and release it as powerful jets of water pressure. Unlike the water he manipulates normally, here he could create attacks like water blades, steam explosions, and pressure bubbles. He could use this in Fishman karate to amplify punches or launch bubbles that burst like water grenades. And the best part, he could use it on land without needing to be near the sea. And finally, Chopper. He already has the Hito no Mi, but what if he got the Rin no Mi? A fruit that allows him to control hormones absolutely. Like, he can regulate his own body's hormones and others too. He can change his form, accelerate healing, increase focus, or even calm someone in panic. It's not like Ivankov's fruit, which changes gender. It's more internal, focused on combat states. He could use this to treat patients, calm down an enraged Zoro, or boost a teammate's endurance for a limited time. He would become the perfect doctor, physical, emotional, and combat ready. That's when he'd truly become the perfect doctor of the seas. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.